State Farm.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Cut. Hey, Arnold, I'm hearing neighbaa. It's neighbor.
That's what I said. Neighbor.
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 Well, let's go again.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Cut.
Now what?
Neighbor.
Yeah, neighbor. Just like it's written on the paper. Neighbor! That was the sheep. And you know it. Neighbor.
Still no.
Neighbor.
Neighbor.
This lady's your neighbor.
What? Arnold, got a bit of a script change. You'll love this.
Thank you, Agent State Farm.
Like a good neighbor,
State Farm is there.
That's that.
I'm a big stabber.
Hey, my name is Phil, and I have to tell you, first off, as a lifelong Buffalo Bills fan, I'm just super glad that Patrick Mahomes wasn't in that State Farm commercial. Can I get an amen? All right, thank you. Hey, you know, State Farm is all about helping you in your time of disaster, and I'm a pretty good, handy guy, I would say. If there's something broken in my house, if I look at a good YouTube video, I think I can figure it out, and except when water's running underneath, the dishwasher or the laundry, and Kathy's like, call a plumber. And so, yeah, I need some help. But being a good neighbor isn't just about disasters. It's about being present consistently for those people that are around us and building them up each day. I want to look really quickly at Romans 15, 1 and 2. The Apostle Paul says, "We who are strong ought to bear with the failings of the weak and not to please ourselves. Each of us should please our neighbors for their good to build them up." You know, Paul paints this really great picture of what it means to be a good neighbor. That's what we're going to look at in my very short minutes that I have remaining. So the first thing that I see here is it says, bear with one another. Paul says, we who are strong ought to bear with the failings of the weak. In other words, when somebody's struggling, it's not that time to criticize or to hide and they're like, oh, I don't know if I want to help them. It actually says we're to bear with. Now that can be confusing. I'm like, oh, I gotta bear with that person. But that's not what it's saying. To bear with means to hold weight. To be able to, if somebody's carrying something that's too heavy, that's what we get to do when we bear with that person when they feel weak. I can think of many times in my life where I was struggling. I remember one time my furnace died in the coldest day of the winter, and my friend Noah came when he was they were doing a double at his work. It was late at night. He came and he helped me, even when it wasn't convenient. So who is that around you that you need to be able to help bear that weight that's too heavy for them? The second part of this, it says to not please yourself. We live in this culture that's often like, hey, well, as long as it doesn't really affect me so much, maybe I'll help. Or I gotta think of myself first. But Paul flips that script, right? And he says, hey, we gotta look to our neighbor and be able to help them and to help them thrive. That's what being a good neighbor is. It's not thinking about yourself, but the other person, so that they can be blessed. And that's what I'm hoping we can learn from what Paul's saying here. The last part of this is that we're supposed to build others up. So when we are being a good neighbor, it's just, Paul says we should please our neighbors for their good to build them up. So it's not really about us, is it, guys? So, have you ever felt really encouraged when someone lifted you up when things were really hard? Didn't something happen in you, it really built something new in you when they did that? So when we're a good neighbor to someone, we're actually building something inside of each person. We're being bricklayers of hope, helping others stand when strong in their faith, or perhaps in their relationship or in their lives. So, in closing, at the end of the day, being a good neighbor is three things. It's showing up, it's lifting that weight when things are too hard, and to build other people up. And Jesus set that example for us, didn't he? He didn't come to this world just to be served, but he served. He gave his life for us. So who can we encourage this week? Whose burdens can I carry to make things a little bit lighter? And how can I build somebody up? Because when we live this way, friends, we don't just reflect on being a good neighbor. We reflect the love of Christ. Thanks, and go Bills.